Hey everyone, and welcome to the Synapsewerx engineering channel. We recently published a detailed product demo of the newly released Boomi Agentstudio, where we walked through and discussed the key features and functionality of this latest AI wonder from the Boomi team. Now, if you've not seen that walkthrough already, I highly recommend you watch that podcast before this one, as it will help with continuity and provide you with a context for today's podcast. Check out the links in the description below, and that'll help you find the video. If you have seen the podcast, then you'll recall there were a couple of features of Boomi's Agentstudio that we couldn't demo because we either didn't have access to them or they'd not been released as yet. So now I'm very excited to share with you today that we've had access to Boomi's Agentstudio Control Tower and Agent Step for the past few days. And today, Ranjeet, our principal integration architect here at Synapsewerx, is going to take us through these new releases. So, Ranjeet, good morning, mate. What have you got for us today? What's new?
Yeah, so today probably we'll be covering two main features provided by the Boomi. One is Agent Control Tower. So Agent Control Tower provides a centralized platform, allowing us to govern and manage the entire AI ecosystem. So when I say entire AI ecosystem, it means like if you have some agents built up in Bedrock, right? You can host it on a control tower, and whatever you're building on a Boomi platform, that's anyhow accessible. And for now, they have just provided a space where you can list down the custom agents, but you cannot access them just for governance perspective. Like you have centralized repository for the agent. But from the view of it, I do think in future, Boomi would be coming with some sort of a upgradation to existing platform where you can access thing outside Boomi platform and Bedrock, but then you go more generic. Any agent could be hosted on it. So which looks pretty good. And the other thing that I will be covering today was how from integration platform you can access these agents. So they have provided agent step in integration, Boomi integration, through which you can access any of the agents which is hosted on the Boomi platform, and or which is basically registered on the control tower. So let me share my screen. I'll go through the control tower first. So last time we did cover the agent garden, and we had like a number of the agent being created and hosted in here. One of them was deployed, few of them, one was draft, and rest all was disabled. So now let's explore the agent control tower. So, okay, so it's just next up to the agent garden. Okay, so here it is, right? So if you remember seeing, like, there was a couple of agents that we had there. Few of them were in draft, and one was active, and other rest of them were disabled. So this is how it looks up here. So now you see the 6 agent being shown up here. We can it's in graph mode at this moment. You can always see it in list mode if you want to. So it shows the same thing which we were seeing in agent designer. We got one which is active, the other one is draft, and rest all is disabled. So now the interesting thing that we see here is now from here you can control the trust level of this agent. So for now, like for ticket master, which basically creates a Jira ticket, I've endorsed this one. So this is well tested agent. So it's gone for the endorsement, and this reflects as an endorsed agent. That means it is trusted, and rest all are unendorsed. So there are 3. I'll talk about the different trust levels once we start configuring the agent in the governance side. But yeah, that's how it looks. Yeah. Let's go back to the graph. Again, you see all of these in the similar color, like pretty blue. The reason is all of these are Boomi agent, but then when you start using it for other agents which are built up in a Bedrock, right? So these color are represented by the backend LLM models which you use. So I'll show you. It's in documentation. We have not configured the Bedrock here, but if you see, this is how it is going to look. So you see the Boomi agents, and then whatever LLM you're using on the backend, right? It would be based on that. So yeah, it's a color or representation of the model which you use. So this is how it is going to look when you're started using across the ecosystem, AI ecosystem. This is
And as yet, Ranjeet, I guess we've not had the opportunity to configure or hook in any external agents.
yeah,
Hence the blue color in Control Tower, which just
yeah.
gives us the Boomi agents that we've configured.
Yes, yes. So right now, when you so that was the first part that we were discussing, right? Like looking into how this reflects into here. But then second thing is how do we configure the different managed providers into Boomi? So which is what I have done is configured the Boomi agent garden in here. You can always configure multiple accounts. If you have multiple Boomi accounts and multiple agent gardens, you can all configure in here to reflect all the agents. But then apart from that, you can configure the Amazon Bedrock. So any agent that you build up there will reflect here. So different LLM model you can use. But the third thing is custom account. Custom account is right now just provided as a placeholder. It does not fetch any information after the agent. So you can just create the name and tag it, but it does not take any real-time data from that agent. So even if you create custom account here and list some of those custom agents in here, it will not fetch the informations of those agents, like runtime information of those agents or any metrics of those agents. It's just a placeholder. But it does trick up the box, like Boomi is planning in future to leverage the custom created agents in here and manage it from the Boomi platform. For now, it is not accessible, but it's just a placeholder where you can just list it down. But in future, probably they will definitely have it. That's how it looks. Yeah. So that is how you manage any provider here on the Boomi platform. So for now,
Sorry to interrupt again, Ranjit, but I could also imagine that whilst Amazon Bedrock is here on day one, and that's understandable because of that strategic relationship between the two that was announced recently. But I could imagine that we'll see additional providers come through here. So maybe some Azure and maybe GCP or maybe Databricks. There's a whole bunch that potentially could form part of the providers for Control Tower.
yeah. So one thing I would like to cover in the previous one, right? You can how to manage the trust, right? So here you see this is unendorsed. This one is endorsed, right? So you can always go and change the go to the view detail, and if you want to endorse it, so here you see all the information in here. So if you think, okay, this is working well and you want to endorse it, you can just go here and then endorse this particular agent, right? So you can control the agent trust level from here. So it would,
And the actual process to execute that
yeah,
trust level is an external process.
yeah.
And once you've gone through that, it's giving you the ability as part of the Control Tower to say, yep, this is an endorsed agent and we're happy and cool with it.
And then here you pretty much see, you can pretty much access all the information of an agent. So what task these agents are listed to, and what tools has been used in the backend, and what are the guardrails being implemented for these agents. So you can pretty much see everything. So you get a full view of the agent here, and you can control the agent enablement and disablement from here. So right now it is disabled, but we can always enable this agent from here.
And I see that this is going to be pretty fundamental when organizations start having agents from multiple platforms, how from one central place they can not only get their metrics, but also they can discover what agents exist, and again, from a level of reusability point of view, what resources each of those agents have, so that they can start utilizing them in a more considered way.
Yeah, I think I know this is an initial release. It's introducing some key capability and functionality, which is good to see. I like the visuals. I always like a visual view and representation of components within a system. But I can see this becoming really pretty powerful once you have the ability to add in more and more providers and agents on a wider basis across the organization. So I think the whole philosophy behind Agent Control Tower is absolutely spot on. It's going to be an invaluable tool, I think, in the coming years.
Yeah, definitely it is. And then there's one more thing, right? It's like you can add a tag to the agent. So let's say you're building up an agent for some purpose, test purpose or dev purpose, because there's only one environment at this moment. So you can provide a tag to here, which will give a representation of what exactly this agent is meant for.
That's interesting. So we can create our own kind of meta tags
Yeah.
then.
So now the third section is monitoring. So that's pretty interesting. So here, what you can do. So right now, the way they have provided, right, you can monitor the agent like in total, like by multiple provider, or you can select the particular provider. So right now, we only have one provider configured, which is Boomi Agent Column. So you see, it's going to give you the information of agents running for this particular provider. I'll go last 6 hours. So by default, it takes 60 minutes. You can but always extend it to the time frame that you're looking forward for. So I'll take last 6 hours. It says Synapsewerx agent account. Okay, so it says, okay, there was one agent which was executing in last 6 hours, and these many tokens which has been used, and this was the average latency. So it give you a pretty much a high level view of data, volume, tokens, performance of this agent, and average response time of the agent. So it's a high level metrics which they provide. I would like to see Boomi to further extend this where we can see a particular agent metrics. So right now it is giving you all the agent information, but you cannot drill it down to a particular one and then see the metrics for it. It's basically for all six here. Although only one is in operation, but if it is six in the operation, it's going to give you the metrics for all six. So yeah, but it's quite interesting to see the detailed information which they publish here in the monitoring section. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Having a look at this holistically is really interesting, especially some of those key metrics around latency. I think you're spot on there, Ranjeet. We need to be able to have the ability to drill down to an individual agent. I'm pretty sure Boomi will be working on that already, and I'm sure that will come through in a future release.
Yeah. Apart from otherwise, like, this looks quite interesting. The whole agent control tower representation, what these guys have provided for me is released, right? It gives you quite comprehensive view of what their future landscapes looks like, because they are going to provide a centralized platform to manage all the agents, just not Boomi. So their vision is clearly reflecting from here. So yeah, it's quite interesting. I would love to see what Boomi comes up with in the next releases.
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch with interest too. Thank you for that bit, mate.
Yeah. So now I would like to take you to agent step, right? So I was always inquisitive, right? Okay, you're creating an agent ecosystem, but how that agent ecosystems relates to the integration. So in the last video that we covered, we did talk about agent invoking the Boomi integration, but I want to see, okay, how Boomi integration can use these agents, right? And then apparently Boomi has provided a step for it. So what that means is from your agent process, right? You can your Boomi process, you can invoke the agent. So if you're building up an ecosystem of an agent and your integration want to access one of the agent and get a response from it, you can do it. So now what Boomi has done, they have provided the agent step. So yeah, here you see. So they have provided an agent step which you can put in the process flow and then interact with any of the agents that you have created and is hosted on your control tower. So let's see how it works, right? So if you see in my flow, it's a very basic flow. We are getting the data from the data hub, and at some point in time, we want to invoke an agent to create a Jira ticket on the Jira and provide me the ticket number back in the response, right? So I've created an agent. Let me take you to the agent first. I'll show you the agent, and then probably we will invoke it from the Boomi flow. So if you see, there is an agent which we have created here, which is ticket master. So the role of this agent is to create the Jira ticket, right? And then and it will provide once the ticket is being created, it will provide the ticket number back in the response. That's what this agent is doing. It's very basic at this moment. So what we are trying to do or achieve, right, from Boomi process, we are trying to invoke this agent on certain conditions, right? And once the agent is invoked, right, we want agent to provide us the ticket number back, right? So let's see how that works. So So that way, I'll go through the configuration step also. So when you go here, it gives you an option to select all the agents which are listed on the control tower. So I've selected my ticket master agent, and it takes this configuration name and return application error response in case it get error, and it's pretty simple. So right now it's like it asks for authentication token. So authentication token, what we have to do is to create an API token on Boomi platform. So it's a quite simple step the way we do it for regular integration. In similar sort of fashion we have to do it. So we'll create an API platform a token on Boomi platform and then use it for agent purpose, and that's pretty much it. Now what's going to happen, we need to send a prompt to the agent to get a Jira ticket. So what I've done here in the message, I've provided a prompt, a detailed prompt, what this agent has to do. So create a Jira ticket with the following details. I provide a dynamic, on the runtime, I'll provide the issue summary. So the user, this and this has an issue with this and detail issue. And then issue description I provide, like why we are creating this issue. So there's a user has a iteration risk score of this much, and then his highly likelihood to potential departure. So we provide the detail what we want to see in the Jira, and that's pretty much it. So we have provided the static prompt with some dynamic values to it, and that's what we want to see in the Jira once the ticket has been created.
Ranjit, just a quick interruption there. Sorry. I find pretty interesting what you are describing right now, because as we have mentioned multiple times, the future of integration is not just sending inputs and outputs in terms of JSON payloads or XML payloads or just any other format, but it is going to be a combination of JSON payloads, XML payloads still for sure, but also there will be prompts. And we are already seeing this, and we have been talking about this, we have been demonstrating this in different videos in the past, how there is going to be this blended approach in which we are interacting with systems that expose APIs. Yes, we are going to be sending JSON payloads. We are going to be interacting with elevated capabilities in terms of agents. Okay, we are going to be sending payloads. And that is pretty interesting. And this is how we are seeing here in action how, what would that message step be in a typical traditional situation. It would be just the input parameters of the XML or the JSON that would be sent to an API or to a microservice of any or a connector of any shape or form. Now we are sending that prompt, and I find that pretty interesting, and I just wanted to highlight that to the viewers.
Thank you, Carlos. So what I'm going to do next is just run this particular flow and show you how the response look like. So yeah, you see now it's executing this agent. It takes a little while to execute it. Yeah, which we can see in the monitoring sections, like there's a bit of a latency at this moment. But
I think that performance and that latency we saw quite a bit in the last video too. I know that the dev team are aware of that, and I know that they're addressing it because, actually what's happening in the background, as I understand it, is there's communication across to AWS Bedrock.
Yeah. So now let's see like what exactly we passed to the agent and what was the response of the agent in the end. Right, so here we set up the prompt, right? So let's see. So this is the message which we have given to the agent, or prompt we have given to the agent. Create a Jira ticket for following issue. User, this particular one, has logged off by the mobile like these many days before. Issue description we have created, and so this prompt has gone to the agent. And what this agent has done, let's see the response of the agent. So this is how the response of the agent looks like. So it doesn't give you the JSON structure back, it just give you the whole message. So it's pretty much giving you the step that agent has done, right? So it's tell you, okay, the event has started, it took this data and invoked the integrations, and then it was thinking and like the whole step that it has done. But at the end of that, it invoked the agent and then a particular tool set which interacts with the Jira to create a ticket. And this is the actual response, the meaningful response, which like the ticket has been created. This is the ticket ID CS77, and this is the URL of the ticket, and this time it was created. So it's given you the ticket number and all the information back, which you can pretty much take it from this payload. And if you want to do whatever you want to do, you want to record it somewhere, you can take it and record it. But yeah, the crux of the story, it's done its job. The agent has created a Jira ticket and it's given you the ticket number back.
And I guess for me, like, so what's different compared to a couple of weeks ago when we recorded the last demo? You know, in the last demo, we could only interact with agents created within Agentstudio via the Agent Garden chat screen. That was the only way we could interact with the agent. Now, if I understand this correctly, Ranjeet, what we're now seeing is that agent is interacting in 100% autonomous mode with no human.
Yes.
And you're interacting with that agent within what is effectively an agentic flow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is all happening automatically, no human in the loop in this Jira ticket scenario, and you wouldn't really want one, right? So it's just operating in the background. An AI agent that you've created in Agentstudio is now working fully autonomously. And that, for me, is gold. That's absolutely a significant fundamental shift from the initial release. And they brought this functionality out just within like literally a handful of weeks of the previous release. So I can imagine that there's more to come still. So this is exciting for me, really exciting.
It is, Malcolm. And just Ranjit, just another note, something that I find very important, because very often I am talking to customers, I'm talking to our partners, I'm talking to a lot of technologists out there, people who have spent decades integrating systems. And many of them don't see the fourth dimension here. Many of them still ask, so what? Like, you just created a Jira ticket. How is that any different to anything that we have been able to do in the past? And there is a huge difference that I would like to highlight. Hopefully I do a good job in the next 20 seconds of doing this, because this is very important. What we are observing here is an ability to provide businesses with that speed and agility that they can differentiate, they can move faster, they can do more with less. So yes, right now we are creating a Jira ticket, but just imagine that is an agent that has been enabled with a lot of business rules, a lot of business acumen, that it is able to understand and use different tools, use different resources, use different prompts internally that it has access to in order to take different actions. Now imagine that we are able to create a business workflow in which there is an event, there is an exception. We have two options: to do it the traditional way, which is the hardwired way, where things are hard-coded, where logic is hard-coded, where orchestration is hard-coded, and we say like, if this, then this, if this, then this, if this, then this. And it's going to take a while, it's going to work, and there is no diversion on that workflow. You know, it is going to follow that path. What we are offering here is something different. What we are offering here is saying like, okay, there was this event, you agent, you have been trained, you already understand all the business rules. Please take after this event, do whatever you must do, following the business rules. And then the agent is going to analyze, it's going to understand these events that it received. It is going to understand the data that is around it. And it is going to then use the internal way in which it was designed, and is going to follow those business rules that it was given to, and is in order to understand what are the tools that it has access to in order to accomplish the best possible outcome. In order to do this, we are able to provide and move faster, to give that business that ability to create not just one end flow. Potentially there is going to be 5 different ways in which their products and services are able to differentiate from their competitors in order to provide a much better service to their end users. So this is what we are talking about here. What we are talking about is providing businesses with the ability to do more with less, to focus more into what is the actual way to differentiate the business, to provide businesses with more ability to move faster using their data that they have access to, end users' data and all the data that they have access to, in a way that it is not prescriptive. It is open-ended, but it is also controlled and governed in a way that agents are going to be interacting with traditional integrations and systems in order to provide these elevated user experiences.
It's that new. It's almost like a new layer. It's not just orchestration, but this is a perfect combination between proprietary customer data or system data and proprietary business roles, all being orchestrated autonomously by an AI agent. And what we're seeing here, bringing it back to Boomi Agent Step, is the feature and the capability that allows you to build that. Again, yeah, I say this often, but if you're an existing Boomi customer and you've got 5+ years of APIs and integrations and flows, you can now build agents on top of those and start doing some pretty cool stuff. And again, these types of features, as far as I'm aware at the moment, are not available in any other iPaaS. So it's pretty unique.
One thing that I like about Boomi, right? So it has given the orchestrating feature in integration, so where you can orchestrate across the agent, but then it has given the other way around also. So when you configure an agent and you have multiple Boomi integrations, right, you can use that as an orchestrator to trigger different integrations and then orchestrate using that. So
that's a good point, and I'd made a little note as you was talking earlier. I just need to test my logic on this. So what we're seeing here with this new feature and capability, yes, it's allowing us to use an agent that's been designed and built using Agent Designer within Agentstudio, and we can now interact with that programmatically within the integration itself with no human in the loop. Would this also extend, though, to being able to provide input and output? Going back to that comment Carlos made earlier about, one of the new payloads is no longer JSON and XML, it's prompts. And I love this philosophy. I love this thought because I think Carlos is absolutely on the money with this. Is it now going to be possible, for example, if I don't know, if we're using WhatsApp, if we do want a human in the loop, can we use WhatsApp to be able to interact with this agent now? Can we send prompts over and questions over? Can we interact with Salesforce or connect the workflow that's within a ServiceNow ITSM workflow and have that data come over within Boomi and interact with our agent? Is that possible now with what we're seeing here?
Yeah, that's completely possible, right? So if you have an access to the end system APIs, right? So based on the outcome that you receive from those API, that could be an input to the agent, and the agent will respond to it. But then what that means is you have to be very clear on the prompting that you use, because now it takes some very standardized prompt. I think it does not take a complex prompt at this point in time. So it's like very standardized, basic in nature. So what that means is when your prompts are pretty standardized and well organized, it gives you an output. So so we need to be very careful about when you are doing that what kind of response we get from that, and if agent is able to understand those responses as an input into input prompts.
Yeah, I agree. The way I see it, prompt engineering is becoming the old way in which we used to do payload transformations. For us, it was in the past, it was very important, and I'm talking the past as from last year and before. We used to do different technologies in order to transform one payload into another, because that was the input into a system, right? This is what 90% of the effort on integration was all about, just converting payloads from one format into another. Now imagine this situation where let's simplify it. As we saw, it doesn't have to, agentic workflows don't necessarily have to involve a chatbot. But just for the sake of this scenario, let's imagine that we are talking about a modern call center in which an end user, a human end user, is talking to an AI agent in the form of a chatbot, and it is requesting in order to create a ticket because there is an issue with their washing machine, or there is an issue with their application, or there is an issue with their a home broadband, or there is an issue with whatever type of service that they have access to. The agent, the chatbot at the front, is saying like, oh yeah, we can help you with this, and then it passes it on into an agentic workflow, in which at some point in time, Boomi is going to receive that prompt as a message, like something similar that we are seeing here on the screen and in the middle. That message potentially has to be, obviously, from a prompt engineering point of view, there has to be some capability to align a prompt and ensure that the prompt has all the different elements that are necessary in order to make it a good prompt. And that's why we use a lot of in prompt engineering, we use a lot of prompt templates. So our end user's prompt needs to be expanded into a better prompt that normally we do as a template. And then we just pass it on to an agent, an AI agent. A different AI agent in this case, like what we are seeing here with this Jira ticket creation. Yes, right now this agent only knows how to create Jira tickets, but because with this as a simple demo. But imagine that this is a more intelligent AI agent that knows how to handle this type of open-ended requests from end users. So now it receives that enhanced prompt from the end user, enhanced with our templating in the middle, which is the new way of transforming payloads now. And then it says, okay, yes, this end user, Miss Jane, wants to create a ticket because her broadband is running very slowly. Okay, what sort of tools I have at my disposal in order to do these type of things? Can I fix the problem? No, I don't think I can fix the problem right now. I need to create a ticket so that there is a technician who ultimately is going to go into her house to look after it, And then it just creates, it decides that, the best way to handle that request, that open-ended request, is creating a Jira ticket, and then moves on. At the front, the chatbot said like, okay, Mrs. Jane, we have been able to analyze your request, and this is all we're talking about. Blink of an eye. We're talking about in the modern ways within 500 milliseconds, so that Miss Jane doesn't feel like she's been left waiting. She's like, okay, I have this problem with my broadband. What can you help me? How can you help me? Oh, Mrs. Jane, we have already analyzed your request. We determined that the best course of action is to send you a technician. We already created this ticket. The person is on the way. All of this happened within less than a second, but all this capability happened because now we are enabling these open-ended, elevated services through agentic workflows.
Cool. I understand that, and I understand the passing of prompts from one system to another needs careful thought and consideration and design. Let me simplify the scenario, and let's go back to what we demonstrated. I say we in the royal sense, what Ranjeet demonstrated to us in the last demo. In that last demo, Ranjeet built for us using Agent Designer a agent that interacted with Data Hub, and it interacted using a number of tools that it had available to it, whether it was Data Hub query or a prompt query or an interface, for example, or an API that went through to HubSpot. The only way we could interact with that agent in that demo was via the Agent Garden chat interface. That was the only way. And what we typed into that chat interface were simple commands. For example, give me a review of the Sony product, or or please list all customers with loyalty points over 90 or something. So my question is, with this new feature within Agentstudio and within the Boomi platform, are we now able to take an input and output within a third-party screen or interface, just that question and response mechanism now in and out of Boomi? because as I highlighted at that time in the demo a couple of weeks ago, it was restrictive in terms of just being able to do that through the Boomi platform. And I think I said at the time, and if you were in a call center and you got a customer on the line, you want to be able to type this question into your chatbot and get a response within that application. So let's say that was Salesforce or ServiceNow. So if there's a screen in Salesforce or ServiceNow and an appropriate API wrapped around that, could that now interact with this agent that you have built within Agentstudio? So can we interact with it externally? I guess simple as it.
So what this is giving you now a flexibility to API-fy an agent, right? So now you can expose this as an HTTP service, and the consumer could be like any platform. So if they want to interact with the agent, they can just simply send the request. Like in the request payload, they can send the prompt what they want to interact with, and then from Boomi process we can pass it down to the agent which is hosted on the Boomi, the same prompt. And give them the response back.
Yeah, so that fixes that little issue that we highlighted a couple of weeks ago, and I think this, for me, this externalizes the capability now that you have within Agentstudio, and this really does open up, that opportunity to start to build some agentic workflows across multiple applications. You're not restricted to everything just taking place within the Boomi platform. And for me, this is a fundamental difference to what we saw a couple of weeks ago. So pretty phenomenal. I'm very excited about this.
Well, I cannot wait to see what we are going to demonstrate next week. With the rapid evolution of all of these technologies moving very quickly, the sky is the limit.
Yeah, I think you're only really limited by a couple of things, right? Limited by your imagination, number one. If you've got a big imagination around this kind of stuff and you imagine cool things, then I think what Boomi's providing here is a really simple, low-code, no-code approach to building out pretty powerful agents. And really, you need your imagination, some good prompt engineering, and the ability to be able to configure. Because you don't need to code in Python anymore to build out really powerful, really useful agents and have it embedded within an end-to-end agentic workflow.
Pretty exciting. Thank you, Ranjeet. That was pretty good.
Ranjeet, thanks again for taking the time to share with us these new features within Boomi's Agentstudio. Boomi's Control Tower and Agent Step really do add significant value to Agentstudio. Once again, kudos to the development team at Boomi HQ for taking this AI thought leadership and converting it into real-world capability within what is an evolving iPaaS product landscape. For me personally, the capability brought to us in Agentstudio really is unlike any other in the iPaaS marketplace. And I can see the huge value that it brings to any organization that is really serious about great AI solutions, and anyone that wants to be part of the AI race. Hopefully, if you're still watching today's demo, hopefully you got some value out of what you've seen today. If you want to know more about what you've seen, or you need to book a personal demo, then please just follow the links in the description below. Now, finally, before we finish today's session, as usual, I'd just like to thank you for spending this time with us today. If you've liked what you have seen, then please do us all a favor and hit the like and subscribe buttons below. If you've got any questions for anyone in the chat, then again, just drop your questions and views also in the comments below. Thanks again, and until next time, keep having fun with meaningful technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.